Hello, my friends. Happy Earth Week. I'm so excited that we're celebrating a whole week of Earth Day every single day for this week. It's very exciting. We talked last week about a mystery bag. And so I thought today, to go along with Earth Week, I would show you how to make a drawstring bag out of something old that you might be inclined to throw in the garbage. And so instead of throwing it in the garbage, we will give it new life. We will give it new purpose. And this is called repurposing. And it's really exciting. And so I went through my rag bag, which is where we put all of our fabric that is stained or dirty and we can't get it to come perfectly clean, or if it has a hole in it and it doesn't work anymore. That's where we put all of our very well used fabrics. And then we use them to clean up spills and things like that around the house, just like we do at Bluebell with our drying cloths, right? We wash them and then we use them again. Instead of getting a piece of paper towel that we would use one time and then throw in the garbage. So I went through my rag bag here, and do you know what I found, which is the best thing ever for making a drawstring bag? I found a very, very, very old pillowcase. Look at this. And it was all scrunched at the bottom, and so I re-washed it and made it all nice and fresh, and sort of wondered why it actually ended up in the rag bag, but that's okay. Here we are. So my dear friends, what I did first with my pillowcase, it's quite a lovely large pillowcase, is I folded this fancy sort of top down like this. I folded it in half, and then I took my scissors and I made tiny little snips. Can you see my tiny little snips? And I did them all the way around, and they're maybe 2 inches apart, but they can be farther apart if you like, or they can be closer together. It depends on how many stitches you might like to make. So see, I did them the whole way around. Can you see all the little cuts? And the reason I made little cuts is because I found this beautiful scrap. So a scrap, again, is often something that we might throw away, something that doesn't necessarily have a purpose anymore. I found this beautiful scrap of rainbow yarn, and it is so pretty. But I think that June and I were doing a project, and when we cut this piece, we cut it just a little bit too short, and so we weren't able to use it for what we needed it for. And so now it's perfect because this will work beautifully for our drawstring bag. All right, so what do we need for tools? I showed you my scrap yarn and a lovely pillowcase, of course, scissors. A lovely wool needle would be very handy for this project. And now we're ready to begin. So after you have done all of those lovely little slits, you can unfold it like this, and essentially you've made little holes. And the reason we did that is because a wool needle is blunt, which means it's not sharp enough to go through fabric. But I really wanted to use this lovely scrap of yarn, and so that's why we use the scissors and we cut. If you don't want to, if you just want to use some really, really, really strong thread, it has to be really super strong, then you don't have to do the cutting part first. All right, so I'm going to thread my needle. Now this yarn is really, really fluffy, and so I'm going to have to very carefully pinch and try to get all of it through that wool needle. Ooh, look, I did it. All right. And then we're ready to begin. What's different from regular sewing? What did I not do at the end of this? I didn't tie any knots, did I? And all that means is that I'm going to have to pay attention that I don't start pulling it all the way through my holes. Do you think I can do it? I think I can. I want to put knots in a different place. So we'll see if we can do it at the end. Ready? So we're going to go up to the ceiling, but I'm not going to pull all the way because I don't want this to slip out through the hole, but I don't want to tie a knot in it just yet. So up to the ceiling and down to the floor in the next place where I cut. up to the ceiling and down to the floor. So in each and every hole, just like a regular running stitch, it's just that you're going through little slices of fabric. And we're going to go all the way around. And you'll notice as I'm going that it's starting to sort of bunch up a little bit, isn't it? Do we want that to happen? We do. Up to the ceiling, and I'm gonna just double check to make sure I still have that end, which I do, which is exciting. Down to the floor. And up to the ceiling and down to the floor. I'm almost there, almost back at the beginning. Up to the ceiling. And that was the last hole. And so what I want to do now is I actually would like to make another hole so that both of my ends are in the underneath. So I'll make one more little cut right here. Snip. And then I'm going to do one more down to the floor, and then I'm going to go back up through my first hole so that both pieces of my beautiful yarn are both coming up out of the same hole. Good. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slide. Hold on, I pulled out a stitch by accident here. There. Okay, so I'm going to slide my wool needle. I'm all done with it. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to set it somewhere where I can't lose it. Unfortunately, I don't have a cork here to put it in. So I have my two ends, and they have gone all the way around. And look what's happened. Watch this. If you pull it, what happens to the top? Can you peek in there? If you put a geometric solid in here, and then you pull, can you see? You can't. So exciting. All right, my friends, so now this is the part where I'm going to tie my knots. I don't want to tie my knots right at the very, very end. I'm going to tie them up here a little bit farther, and it's so that we're actually going to tie both strings together, and then that way they can never be lost inside the bag. So I'm going to put a knot, I think right about here, and both of them together right around my two fingers, and then I'm going to tuck both of the ends through just like that. And I think I might do it just one more time. Although, how many knots do we always tie? We always tie 3, don't we? Maybe I'll do 3, just to be sure. There, how does that look? So there you have it, my friends. A lovely drawstring bag made out of an old pillowcase that possibly would have ended up in the garbage. And now it has a job. It's become a mystery bag. We have repurposed and reused something, and how wonderful. What a lovely thing to do for Earth Week. Thank you so much, my friends. Have fun. See you next time.